Peppa loves playing with Teddy, her stuffed toy. But do you know all the incredible facts involving Teddy? Girl. Many people think Teddy is a boy, just like Mr. Dinosaur, but that's not exactly true. In the episode where Peppa had her birthday, it was revealed that her plush toy is a girl, with the little pig referring to Teddy using feminine terms and even putting a dress on her. Even Daddy Pig was surprised since he didn't know that either. In fact, this is something very curious because Peppa has referred to Teddy as a boy in other episodes, both before and after her birthday. Maybe Peppa forgets that Teddy is a girl sometimes, or maybe she just keeps changing her mind about it. At the end of the day, Teddy is whatever Peppa wants her to be. But what if we told you that these changes could be a sign that Teddy is actually the name of several different teddy bears, or even that Peppa's toy is being haunted by ghosts? Want to understand this better? Don't worry, because we're going to tell you everything about Teddy in the world of Peppa Pig. It's time to have fun with us in another Cinewave. Teddy exists. Throughout the many episodes of the show, we've seen several celebrities that exist in this universe. Mr. Potato, Super Potato, the Queen, etc. But what if we told you that Teddy is also a celebrity who exists and hosts a TV show? After all, many toys represent characters that exist elsewhere. How many kids have Spider-Man action figures? Mr. Potato and Super Potato definitely have plenty of toys too, considering Daddy Pig himself has a Mr. Potato keychain. With all that in mind, the real Teddy could very well be an actual bear who hosts a children's TV show that Peppa loves to watch. But why would Teddy be a TV host instead of a cartoon character, for example? It's simple. We've seen many times that the Pig family loves shows with presenters who talk about health or games, since they watch Super Potato's show so much that Mommy Pig has even memorized all the lines from the episodes. It would be really cool if the real Teddy appeared in an episode and Peppa had the chance to meet her. The little pig would definitely introduce the celebrity to her plush version, which would end up being a very unexpected meeting. Multiple Teddies. Remember when we mentioned the idea that there could be multiple teddy bears called Teddy in Peppa Pig? Now it's time to talk more about that. As we said before, the fact that Peppa refers to Teddy as a girl sometimes and a boy at other times is a strong sign that every time we see this toy, we might actually be seeing a different Teddy. And since Peppa knows this, she simply decides whether this new Teddy is a boy or a girl during the episode. But why would there be so many Teddies, and where are the ones that aren't with Peppa? To understand that, we have to remember that Peppa has the terrible habit of forgetting her favorite toy everywhere she goes. We've seen this in multiple episodes, like in Teddy's Day Out, where Peppa leaves her plush toy at Zoe Zebra's picnic and only gets it back because Mr. Zebra takes Teddy back to the pig's house. It's even worse in the set of episodes where the pig family goes on vacation to Italy, because Peppa forgets her teddy bear in several places across Italy, only getting her back because a police officer, unbelievably good at tracking plush toys and people, always rescues Teddy and brings her back to her owner. If it weren't for him, Teddy would be left behind in another country forever. Even so, Peppa never seems to learn her lesson and keeps forgetting her toy everywhere. The point is that maybe Teddy isn't always rescued after being forgotten by the little pig, but the show hides those moments from us. That would mean Peppa has already left several Teddies behind. Whenever that happens, her parents give her a new replica as a gift, since Peppa and George have always been quite spoiled. It's kind of sad to think that several teddy bears might be abandoned by Peppa, and that she simply stops caring about them once she gets a new Teddy. If the toys in this series were alive like the ones in Toy Story, Peppa would be a true villain. So, do you also think Teddy is hiding a dark secret? If yes, comment down below #Teddy. A life of its own. We just played around with the idea of Peppa Pig's toys being like the ones in Toy Story, but what if Teddy actually has a life of her own? That could give a completely different explanation for all those times when Peppa forgets her, which is different from the theory that there are multiple Teddies. We always put the blame on the little pig when we talk about her forgetting her plush toy, but maybe it's not Peppa who is forgetting. Maybe it's Teddy who is trying to escape from Peppa. It's possible that, when no one is looking, the little bear jumps out of Peppa's hand on purpose just to be left behind, as if she's trying to run away. That changes everything we thought about Teddy, because we've always seen her as just a toy, and believed her friendship with Peppa was great, but this shift would mean that Teddy is more than just a toy, and that she might not like Peppa as much as we thought, since she's always trying to escape. But why would Teddy want so badly to escape from Peppa if the little pig never harms her? Well, even though we're talking about a toy, we can imagine that Teddy doesn't want to live like a plush toy, but rather like a free individual. But every time she's about to escape, someone ends up finding her and bringing her back to the pig family, and that's actually pretty tragic. Haunted. Do you know what's even scarier than Teddy simply having a life of her own? The idea that Peppa's toy might actually be haunted by the spirit of a child, or even more than one spirit. All of this fits perfectly with the idea of Teddy moving on her own and trying to escape from her owner, but it adds even more layers to the story. In some episodes, Peppa says very specific things about her plush toy, as if Teddy herself were speaking directly to the little pig, and that might be exactly what's happening, especially since there's a very well-known belief that children can see spirits, and many of them talk to these spirits as if they were imaginary friends. The idea that Peppa's toy is haunted is another way to explain why Teddy is treated as a girl at one moment and as a boy at another, which makes a lot of sense if there are two spirits inside Teddy, one belonging to a boy and one to a girl. Since both spirits would be speaking to Peppa at different times, she would naturally get confused about it. Deceased relatives. Of course, if Teddy really is a toy haunted by one or more spirits, another question comes up. Where did these spirits come from? And the answer might have a deep connection to the pig family. What if Teddy is being haunted by deceased relatives of Peppa? One of them could even be the origin of the toy's name. Maybe the original Teddy was Mommy Pig's first child, who passed away before George was born. Peppa would still remember her older brother, and because of that, would have named her plush toy after him, without realizing that his spirit would begin haunting the toy. But he probably isn't the only one, because we know there must be at least one female spirit inside the plush. But who could it be? Coincidence or not, one of the few Peppa Pig characters who is officially deceased is part of the pig family, and her name is Evie. We're not talking about Peppa's younger sister, but Great Aunt Evie, a distant relative of Peppa who is no longer with us. Peppa's baby sister is named Evie precisely in her honor. What no one imagines is that Great Aunt Evie's spirit has been following her family to this day through Peppa's plush toy. Want to keep having fun with us? Then subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Narrator. Many fans have always wondered how the narrator of the show manages to keep an eye on the pig family all the time without anyone noticing. What few people have realized is that there is someone who is always close to them and is rarely the center of attention: Teddy. We've never actually seen what the narrator of Peppa Pig looks like, and maybe the reason for that is that he is simply Peppa's stuffed teddy bear, or at least one of the spirits that might be haunting the toy, like the little pig's older brother. After all, who else would be watching the pigs and commenting on their adventures if not the family's first child? Evie's toy. With everything we've talked about, it would even be ironic if Evie, Peppa's younger sister, becomes the new official owner of Teddy in the future, but that's more than possible. It's very common for children to pass their old toys down to friends or younger siblings, so it might just be a matter of time before Peppa does that, because even though time in Peppa Pig may seem slower compared to real life, it still moves forward. Proof of that is that several characters have already had birthdays during the show: Peppa, George, Richard Rabbit, Edmund Elephant, etc. Evie's own birth proves that things can change in this universe, so sooner or later, Peppa will grow a little older and lose interest in Teddy, but she'll still have affection for the toy, so instead of throwing her away or leaving her stored somewhere, Peppa will give Teddy to Evie, and we can all agree that this would be really adorable to see. Abandoned Teddy. It probably won't even take long for Peppa to lose interest in Teddy, because that already seems to be happening, and you can see it throughout the episodes of the show. Just compare Teddy to George's Mr. Dinosaur. Peppa's little brother is always holding his dinosaur, always playing with it, and never abandons it. The closest George ever came to abandoning it was when he lost Mr. Dinosaur after throwing it too high, causing the toy to get stuck in a tree. Even then, the little boy was completely desperate and didn't rest until he found it. This is very different from Peppa, who has forgotten Teddy several times and only remembers her when someone brings her back. It may seem like Peppa is just careless, but unless Teddy is actually escaping on her own, like we theorized, it's very likely that Peppa simply doesn't care about her doll anymore. In other words, you can be sure that the little pig is very close to saying goodbye to Teddy once and for all and passing her on to Evie. Honestly, it might not even be a matter of years before this happens, but just a matter of a few episodes. So how long do you think it will take before Peppa and Teddy go their separate ways? The next step is right in front of you. 2 fun-filled videos waiting for your click. Thanks, and see you soon.